The 1992p and 1992d Roosevelt 1-dime coins may look ordinary at first glance, but among them lie rare and fascinating minting errors that have captured the attention of collectors across the United States. These errors, born from the tiniest imperfections during the minting process, have transformed common 10-cent coins into pieces of immense numismatic curiosity and even significant value. To understand why these error dimes are so desirable, we need to explore their history, the minting process, and the specific types of mistakes that make the 1992 Roosevelt dime so special. The story of the 1992 Roosevelt dime begins with the enduring legacy of the design itself. Introduced in 1946, just 1 year after President Franklin D. Roosevelt's passing, the dime was chosen to honor his leadership and his dedication to the March of Dimes, a campaign to fight polio. Sculptor John R. Sinek created the now iconic portrait of Roosevelt that still graces the obverse of the coin today. On the reverse, a torch symbolizes liberty, flanked by an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength. A simple but powerful design that has stood the test of time. But why 1992? The Roosevelt dime had already been in circulation for more than 4 decades. It was being produced in massive quantities at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The P mint mark represented Philadelphia, while the D stood for Denver. These coins were made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, a copper core sandwiched between 2 layers of nickel, designed for durability and to replace the silver content that had been removed after 1964 with the precision of modern machinery. One might assume that mint errors in the 1990s would be rare. However, even the most advanced minting systems are not immune to human error, mechanical wear, or unexpected technical glitches. And it is precisely these moments that gave rise to some of the most interesting 1992p and 1992d Roosevelt dime errors known to collectors today. One of the most sought-after types of mint errors on the 1992 Roosevelt dime is the double die error. This happens when the die used to strike the coin receives 2 misaligned impressions during its creation, leading to doubling on the coin's surface. On a 1992 dime, you might notice this doubling most clearly on the inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, or on Roosevelt's eye and mouth area. The reverse can also show doubling on the words United States of America or E pluribus unum. Strong doubling visible without magnification is especially valuable. Depending on the strength of the doubling and the coin's condition, such a dime could be worth anywhere from $75 to $400, while the boldest examples authenticated by grading services like PCGS or NGC can reach $800 or more. Another popular and visually striking minting error found in 1992 dimes is the off-center strike. This error occurs when the blank planchet is not properly aligned between the upper and lower dies during striking. As a result, part of the design is missing, leaving a blank crescent of unstruck metal. Minor off-center strikes of around 5% to 10% off usually bring $40 to $60. However, if the strike is off by 40% or more while still showing the date and mint mark, it becomes much rarer and can fetch between $200 and $400, with some extreme cases reaching over $600. Each off-center dime is unique. No 2 coins are ever exactly the same, making them extremely appealing to collectors who love one-of-a-kind pieces. Another intriguing error type found among 1992 Roosevelt dimes is the broad strike error. When the collar, the metal ring that normally keeps the coin's shape, fails to engage properly, the metal expands outward during striking. The result is a dime that looks larger and flatter than normal, with the design appearing stretched near the edges. A 1992p or 1992d broad strike dime typically sells for $50 to $150, depending on how pronounced the error is and the coin's condition. Clipped planchet errors are also known to occur on 1992 Roosevelt dimes. During production, blank planchets are punched from large sheets of metal. If the sheet is misaligned, some blanks may be cut too close to the edge, resulting in coins with missing curved or straight sections, as if a small bite has been taken out of them. The size and placement of the clip affect the coin's value. A small clip may bring $30 to $75, while a larger, cleaner clip with visible design distortion can reach $150 or more. A more subtle but fascinating error is the die crack or cud error. These occur when a die begins to wear down or fracture after striking many thousands of coins. The resulting cracks or breaks appear on the coin as raised lines or blobs of extra metal. On the 1992 Roosevelt dime, you might see die cracks running through Roosevelt's neck, his jawline, or across the torch on the reverse. A small die crack might be worth $20 to $40, while a large cud near the rim can raise the value dramatically, up to $200 or even $400 if it's particularly bold. Lamination errors are another type seen on 1992 dimes. These happen when impurities or weak bonding in the metal cause parts of the coin's surface to peel, flake, or bubble. The error can appear as a rough, raised, or missing patch of metal. These are particularly interesting from a visual standpoint, as they make each coin unique. Depending on size and location, a lamination error dime can bring $50 to $200. One of the rarest and most valuable types of errors found on 1992 Roosevelt dimes is the wrong planchet strike. This occurs when a dime is accidentally struck on a planchet meant for another denomination, like a cent or a foreign coin. Because of the different size and metal composition, the resulting error is instantly noticeable. The coin may appear too small, too thin, or the wrong color. For example, a 1992 dime struck on a copper penny planchet would have a reddish hue and weigh less than normal. Such a coin, if authenticated, can sell for thousands of dollars. A confirmed 1992 P dime struck on a cent planchet could be worth anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000, depending on its condition and visibility of the date. It's also worth noting that some 1992 dimes exhibit missing clad layer errors, where part or all of the nickel layer on the coin surface is absent, exposing the copper core beneath. These errors can occur on one or both sides of the coin. A 1992 dime missing one clad layer will appear half copper-colored and half silver-colored. Such a striking visual difference makes these errors highly collectible, often valued between $150 and $300, while full missing layer examples can exceed $500 in uncirculated grades. The 1992P and 1992D Roosevelt dimes are also notable for transitional and die deterioration varieties. While not all of these are considered true errors, some display interesting differences in the strike quality, die polish lines, or weaker details due to overused dies. Collectors often seek out these varieties as part of the broader study of the Roosevelt series. When evaluating the value of any 1992 dime error, the coin's condition plays a crucial role. A coin graded mint state, MS, 65 or higher by PCGS or NGC will always command a premium over a circulated one. Even a minor error looks far more impressive in brilliant uncirculated condition. Additionally, errors authenticated and encapsulated by reputable grading companies are much easier to sell and often fetch higher prices at auction. The fascination with mint errors like those found on the 1992 Roosevelt dimes lies in their unpredictability. Each error tells a small story about what went wrong inside the U.S. Mint, whether it was a momentary lapse in machinery alignment, a damaged die, or an unnoticed planchet mix-up. These are the tiny imperfections that slipped past strict quality control, making their way into circulation to surprise sharp-eyed collectors decades later. For coin collectors and hobbyists, finding one of these 1992P or 1992D Roosevelt dime errors in circulation feels like uncovering buried treasure. While most dimes from that year are worth just 10 cents, the rare error examples can turn up in old coin rolls, inherited collections, or even pocket change. A careful examination under good lighting or with a magnifier can reveal subtle hints of doubling, off-centering, or metal irregularities that could make a huge difference in value. To summarize, the 1992 Roosevelt dime error coins are a perfect reminder that not all treasures are gold or silver. Sometimes, they're small copper-nickel pieces with imperfections that tell their own story. The most common errors include double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, and missing clad layers, with values ranging from a few dozen dollars to several thousand depending on rarity and condition. What makes the 1992P and 1992D error dimes even more appealing is their accessibility. They're modern enough to still be found in circulation, yet rare enough to make every discovery exciting. Whether you're a casual coin enthusiast or a serious numismatist, checking your dimes could reveal one of these fascinating mistakes. A little piece of minting history that shows how even in a world of precision and technology, imperfection still holds extraordinary value. So the next time you get a handful of change, take a closer look at those shiny Roosevelt dimes. Among the ordinary may lie a 1992 error coin worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. A hidden gem from a moment in minting history when a small slip turned an everyday coin into a collector's dream. The 2010p and 2010d Roosevelt one-dime coins may seem like just another pair of modern American coins, simple 10-cent pieces that pass through millions of hands daily without a second thought. But within this unassuming year lies a fascinating world of rare minting errors that have turned ordinary dimes into highly prized collector's items. Behind these tiny metallic surfaces are stories of precision, imperfection, and value that can reach thousands of dollars, all from mistakes made in the heart of the U.S. Mint. Few truly understand the appeal of the 2010 Roosevelt dime and its error varieties. We must first step back to appreciate the legacy of the design itself. Introduced in 1946, the Roosevelt dime replaced the Mercury dime and served as a tribute to President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Designed by John R. Sinek, the coin's obverse features the left-facing portrait of Roosevelt, accompanied by the inscriptions "Liberty, In God We Trust," and the date below his neck. On the reverse, the design features a lit torch symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch representing peace and an oak branch symbolizing strength. A timeless image that has remained nearly unchanged for decades. BY 2010. The Roosevelt dime had already been circulating for more than 6 decades. The composition remained the same since 1965. A copper-nickel-clad coin with a pure copper core. The 2010 issues were struck at both the Philadelphia Mint, with a P mint mark, and the Denver Mint, with a D mint mark. Together, these facilities produced hundreds of millions of dimes that year. With such large-scale production and automated machinery striking thousands of coins per minute, errors occasionally slipped through. Rare, unpredictable, and highly collectible. One of the most desirable error types on the 2010 Roosevelt dime is the off-center strike error. This happens when the planchet, the blank piece of metal meant to be struck, is misaligned between the dies. As a result, the design is not centered, leaving a blank crescent of unstruck metal. These off-center coins are easy to identify because part of Roosevelt's face or the date may be missing. Minor off-center strikes of 5% to 10% are interesting but not extremely rare, usually worth between $50 and $100. However, when the strike is dramatically off, say 40% or more, and the date remains visible, the coin's value can rise sharply, often reaching $250 to $400. In a few extreme cases, perfectly preserved off-center 2010p or 2010d dimes have fetched over $600 at specialized coin auctions. Another fascinating type of error found on the 2010 Roosevelt dime is the double die error. These occur during the die-making process when the die receives 2 misaligned impressions, causing elements of the design to appear doubled. Collectors who discover such doubling on Liberty, In God We Trust, or Roosevelt's profile, particularly around the eye or lips, have something special. Doubling can also appear on the reverse, especially on the lettering United States of America or one dime. The value of these double die errors depends heavily on how strong and visible the doubling is. Minor doubling that requires magnification may bring $40 to $80, while clear and dramatic doubling visible to the naked eye can push the value into the $200 to $400 range. In one recent case, a sharp double die 2010D dime certified by PCGS was auctioned for over $700. A remarkable amount for a modern dime. A particularly interesting and visually striking type of error on 2010 dimes is the broad strike error. Normally, when a coin is struck, a collar surrounds the planchet to keep it perfectly round and contain the metal. But if the collar fails, the metal spreads outward upon striking, leaving a coin that is wider, thinner, and missing its reeded edge. A broad-struck 2010 dime has an almost pancaked appearance. Collectors love these because they are immediately recognizable and dramatic. Depending on condition, these errors typically range from $75 to $200, and examples in uncirculated condition can reach $300 or more. Clipped planchet errors are another variety seen on 2010 dimes. This happens when the metal sheet used to create blank planchets is misfed through the punching machine, resulting in planchets that are missing small curved or straight sections, like a bite taken out of the coin. A small clip may be subtle, but larger clips that remove part of Roosevelt's bust or the rim are much more eye-catching. Values for clipped planchet 2010 dimes generally range from $50 to $150, while large, perfectly curved clips can command prices up to $250. Another type of error that sparks collector interest is the die crack or cut error. Over time, dies wear out and can develop small cracks or even break along the edge. These cracks appear on coins as raised lines or blobs of extra metal. On the 2010 Roosevelt dime, such cracks often form along Roosevelt's neck, jawline, or through the torch on the reverse. A small die crack may only be worth $20 to $40, but when a portion of the die actually breaks off, leaving a flat blob of metal near the rim, a cud, the coin becomes far rarer and can sell for $200 to $400 depending on size and location. The missing clad layer error is another fascinating occurrence seen on 2010 Roosevelt dimes. Since these dimes are made with a copper core and nickel outer layers, it's possible for one or both of the outer nickel layers to be missing. When one layer is missing, the coin's surface shows a distinct copper color instead of the usual silvery appearance. This dramatic two-tone effect makes these coins instantly recognizable and valuable. A missing clad layer dime can sell for $150 to $300 depending on the extent and side of the missing layer. A full missing clad layer on one side in mint condition can even exceed $500 at auction. Even more unusual are wrong planchet errors, where the dime is accidentally struck on a planchet intended for another denomination, such as a cent, a foreign coin, or even a 5-cent planchet. Because planchets for different denominations vary in size, weight, and composition, these mistakes create coins that look entirely out of place. For instance, a 2010 dime struck on a copper penny planchet would appear reddish in color and weigh less than normal. Such pieces are extraordinarily rare and can command high premiums. Authentic examples certified by major grading companies like NGC or PCGS have sold for $2,000 to $4,000, depending on condition and visibility of the date and mint mark. Another intriguing error known to exist in some 2010 Roosevelt dimes is the struck-through error. This happens when a foreign object, such as grease, cloth, or a small piece of metal, gets trapped between the die and the planchet during striking. The object leaves an impression or missing detail on the finished coin. Depending on the size and clarity of the struck-through area, values can range from $40 for small grease strikes to $300 or more for dramatic cases where large portions of the design are obscured. The off-metal or transitional planchet error is even rarer and highly sought after. While the dime's composition hasn't changed since 1965, sometimes planchets from other coin types can be accidentally used. For example, a few reported modern dimes have been struck on planchets meant for foreign coins or experimental materials. These anomalies can bring thousands of dollars due to their rarity and unique appearance. When it comes to value, condition is everything. A circulated 2010 dime with an error will never be worth as much as an uncirculated or mint state example. Coins that have sharp details, original luster, and minimal marks attract serious collectors. Authentication and grading by PCGS or NGC not only protect the coin but also verify that the error is genuine. A crucial step since fakes and post-mint damage can often mimic real mint errors that in the numismatic world. The 2010 Roosevelt dime holds a special place as part of the modern era of U.S. mint precision. But even with advanced technology, perfection is elusive. Machines wear down, planchets misalign, and dies crack. And from these small moments of imperfection, valuable treasures emerge. These error coins remind us that even in mass production, true uniqueness can exist. For example, one 2010p Roosevelt dime with a 45% off-center strike and visible date sold for nearly $600 at auction. Another 2010D dime with a full missing clad layer on the reverse realized over $520. These auction results show that collectors continue to seek out even modern coin errors, pushing prices higher as demand grows. Every collector dreams of finding one of these errors in the wild, maybe tucked away in an old coin jar, hidden in change, or resting unnoticed in a roll from the bank. The thrill of discovering a coin that's worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars instead of just 10 cents is what drives many enthusiasts to keep searching. So, if you ever get your hands on a handful of 2010 dimes, take a closer look. Check for off-center designs, doubling on the lettering, cracks along the rim, or color differences hinting at missing clad layers. You never know, one of those coins could be a minting mistake worth far more than you expect. The 2010p and 2010d Roosevelt dime errors remind us that imperfection can be beautiful and profitable. These small, overlooked treasures are proof that even in an era of near-flawless technology, accidents still happen. And when they do, collectors everywhere take notice. What makes these coins even more exciting is how attainable they are. They're not ancient or rare silver issues. They're modern coins still found in circulation. The possibility that a dime in your pocket could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars makes checking every coin worthwhile. And in the end, the 2010 Roosevelt dime era coins tell a timeless story, one of craftsmanship, imperfection, and unexpected value. They are living proof that even the smallest details, the tiniest slips in machinery, can create something extraordinary. So the next time you hold a dime, remember that it's not just 10 cents. It could be a hidden piece of American minting history, carrying the legacy of Roosevelt and a story worth far more than its face value.